In this lecture, we are going to talk about cross power density spectrum and its properties. So, what we have done so far is the spectral density of single random variable. Like you have a random process x of t, that is a collection of waveforms like this. There are infinite number of waveforms in the random process x of t, and you sample the process at some point of time. Let's say at time instant t equal t1, you will get a random variable x of t1. Okay, and for this random variable you find the power spectral density, that is called sxx of omega. X of t is a random process and x of t1 is a random variable. And this random variable is obtained by sampling the random process x of t at time instant t1. Sometimes people may write like this x of t to denote the random variable. Here it indicates you are sampling the random process at time instant t. So it depends on the context whether it is random process or random variable. So therefore you have x of t1, and for that we defined the power spectral density sxx of omega. Now if I take two random processes, this is one random process sx capital X of t. I have one more random process like this. Let me call this random process as y of t, and now I sample somewhere else like t equal to some time instant t2. I'll get another random variable y of t1. For this I'll get power spectral density sy of omega. Okay, now since I have two random variables x and x of t1 and y of t1, then exactly like cross correlation coefficients, it is possible to define cross spectral density. Okay, so we can define cross spectral density, and the definition is slightly peculiar. You have to remember this. When I say power spectral density of sxx of omega, if you recall, it is limit t tends to infinity 1 over 2t expected value of xt of omega mod square. So this is a definition. Similarly, you have cross spectral density x and y, x to y of omega is equal to, we will prove this property, okay, as we go along. Limit t goes to infinity 1 over t. See, this I can write xt conjugate of omega times xt of omega, right? Similarly, here also I can write xt of omega multiplied by yt of omega. That's it. And here this xt of omega is complex. You take complex conjugate. Okay, so sxy of omega, the cross spectral density, is an expected value of instead of xt omega mod square, it is the product of xt of omega times yt of omega, but one of them is complex conjugate. So let me take the complex conjugate of xt omega star, and the convention is the first random process complex conjugate of that is taken. See here, my first random process is x, therefore for this x let me take complex conjugate. This is a convention generally people follow. So in other words, xt conjugate of omega is equal to xt of minus omega. Okay, if the random process capital X of t is real. This you can easily prove. This I already proved in one of the previous lecture. You can have a look. The properties of power spectral density. Okay, sxx of omega. You can look at this. Therefore this you can replace here. So sx y of omega is equal to limit t goes to infinity 1 over t integral expectation of, I'm sorry, here I forgot to put expectation of xt of minus omega yt of omega, where xt of omega and yt of omega are the Fourier transform of xt of t and yt of t respectively. So this is the definition of your cross spectral density, and this is called a cross spectral density. Now let us see in detail about this. This is just introduction. Now how this cross spectral density formula is derived and how they are related with the other power spectral densities. Okay. Now formally let us do this. Now consider a real random process W of t, which is equal to sum of two other random processes like x of t plus y of t. And by the way, this is a random process. Let's say random process 1 and this is random process 2. Two different random process. This has a collection of waveforms and this guy also collection of waveforms. Maybe it contains infinite number of waveforms and this guy also contains infinite number of waveforms. Both are different. Now I am considering sum of two random processes x of t and y of t. Now let me define the autocorrelation function of w of t. So or w, another w of let's say t comma t plus tau is equal to expected value of same definition w of t times w of t plus tau. It's fairly straightforward and a mechanical procedure. So expected value of, you know, w of t is equal to x of t plus y of t multiplied by x of t plus tau plus y of t plus tau, and then expand this, multiply term by term. So you will get x of t times x of t plus tau, then x of t times y of t plus tau plus y of t times x of t plus tau plus y of t times y of t plus tau. So I expanded this. Now don't you see, this is the autocorrelation function of x of t, because this is a linear operator. Once you take it, you will get expected value of x of t into x of t plus tau plus expected value of x of t into y of t plus tau plus expectation of y of t times x of t plus tau, then again expectation of this guy. So there are four expected values. So the first one is, I am skipping one step or if you want I can write it. So expected value of x of t times x of t plus tau plus expected value of x of t into y of t plus tau plus expected value of y of t into times x of t plus tau plus x of t y of t times y of t plus tau. So the first term indicates the autocorrelation function of the random process x of t, t comma t plus tau. And the second term indicates cross correlation. It's not autocorrelation, it is cross correlation between x and y. This is y actually. X and y of t comma t plus tau, and the third term is cross correlation between y and x. Okay, don't change the order. T comma, they are not the same by the way. T plus tau plus the autocorrelation of the random process y of t. So t comma t plus tau, that's it. So there are 4 terms. And then let me call this is equation number 2. Maybe the first one, let me say is equation number 1. Now we take time average of both sides. Time average means what? You take x of t, integrate from minus t to, maybe I'll write down somewhere. This is, yeah, time average. Time average means you take a signal x of t, integrate over a period of time, let's say minus t2 plus t, right? So the duration is minus t2 plus t. So what is the, the interval is minus t2 plus t. What is the duration? 2t. So divided by 2t. So this is the time average. So similarly here also we are going to apply the time average of this expression. The left hand side I have r w of t comma t plus tau. Okay, now time average. So this is going to be the time average operation. By the way, we denote the letter a. See, this whole thing I can denote by a of x of t. This is called a time average of the signal x of t. Similarly, I am taking time average of the autocorrelation function rw. I'm sorry, this is not clear. T comma t plus tau. This is equal to, here also take our time average, all 4 terms, rxx of t comma t plus tau plus rxy of t comma t plus tau plus ryx of t comma t plus tau plus ryy of t comma t plus tau. Okay, so just now take this a inside, a times rxx of t comma t plus tau plus time average of rxy of t comma t plus tau plus time average of ryx of t comma t plus tau plus ryy of t comma t plus tau. What did I do? Yes, I forgot to put a times, that is time average of ryy of t comma t plus tau. Okay, fine. So on the left hand side I have time average of the random process w of t. In the right hand side I have 4 terms. Now take the Fourier transform on both sides. Fourier transform. So Fourier transform of the left hand side, or w of t comma t plus tau is equal to, anyway Fourier transform is a linear operator, so you can take this one, Fourier transform of time average of rxx of t comma t plus tau, again plus Fourier transform of time average of rxy t plus tau plus Fourier transform of time average of ryx of t comma t plus tau plus Fourier transform of time average of autocorrelation function ryy of t comma t plus tau. Now This indicates what? Represents the Fourier transform. Excuse me. It is clear that left side of the equation, the above equation, is just power spectrum of what? W of t. Yes, W of omega. It's a power spectrum because you take the Fourier transform of time average of autocorrelation function, it gives you the power spectrum of the concerned or corresponding random process. Similarly, in the right hand side, the first term indicates the power spectrum of the random process x of t, and the second term is it's a new quantity. Okay, so that's what we are going to study now, and that new quantity is called cross power spectrum. So this is called cross power spectrum. So that is written as, it is x to y, so sxy of omega, and the third term is also cross power spectrum, but it is between y to x. By the way, sxy is not equal to syx, that we will prove at the end of this lecture or in the next lecture. Omega, and the last term is the power spectrum of the random process y of t. So syy of omega. So there are four spectrums, and this one is we are very familiar, and this also we are familiar with that. But this one and that one are new terms. So that is some new quantities that are the subjects of this lecture and the following couple of lectures. Okay, now let us discuss the cross power spectral density and this term also. So the next topic of interest is cross power density spectrum. Density spectrum. So what is the relation between cross power density spectrum and its autocorrelation function? So it's a formal proof, and whatever we did the same thing, it's a extension of the previous lecture. For two real random processes, let's say x of t and y of t, we will define now two functions. Before that, let me define the random process. It has collection of waveforms, and this also collection of waveforms, and here the y of t also has a waveform. So there are infinite number of waveforms here and here also. In practical systems, you can have many waveforms, and the sample function is denoted by small y of t, and this guy is denoted by small x of t, and the random process itself is denoted by capital letter, and here we use small letter, lowercase. Now in general, in practice, this waveform y of t exists from minus infinity to plus infinity, and we cannot see this range at one go. So we are going to truncate this waveform. So the truncated waveform is denoted by yt of t, and here also you take any one waveform. Let me call that waveform x of t, and truncate this waveform between minus t to plus t, and that is denoted by xt of t. So the definition is xt of t is equal to x of t, but the limit is minus t to t, small t and capital T, and 0 otherwise. Similarly, the truncated waveform yt of t is equal to y of t, and the limit is minus t less than small t less than capital T, and 0 elsewhere. So this is just definition. Now what you do, take the Fourier transform xt of t. If you take Fourier transform, then let me denote that in the frequency domain I put xt of omega. Don't confuse this capital letter with the random process. This capital letter indicates frequency domain. recall from your signals and systems. Okay, so when you take Laplace transform, after taking transform you use capital letter, like if you have x of t, then take Laplace transform, you'll get x of s. Similarly, if you take Fourier transform, then it becomes x of omega. So this capital letter indicates what? Frequency domain, and this lowercase indicates time domain description. So don't get any confusion. Similarly, this y suffix t of t is, if you take Fourier transform, capital Y t of omega. So this also, it indicates frequency domain. But y of t is a random process, and this capital letter indicates random process, and here the capital letter indicates frequency domain description. And since the range is limited, if you see from minus t to plus t, I can assume that the waveforms are, waveforms are bounded with a certain magnitude. Okay, it doesn't have any discontinuities. Okay, so I can assume that both of them have bounded variation, and it is integrable, and the integration is going to be finite. So xt of t, you take mod, and dt is less than infinite, finite value, absolutely integrable. Similarly, y, because if this condition violates, you cannot take Fourier transform. That's why I am making this condition. Again, infinity. Then as a consequence, they will possess Fourier transforms. Okay, and those Fourier transforms we denote by this yt of t, and here yt of omega and xt of omega. Now we next define the cross power. Cross power, that cross power is denoted by, let's say, P, power between x and y. Okay, and I put a time here because with respect to time, the duration it changes. So that's why it is a function of your interval length. Function of interval. I mean here t is half of the window because your window is from minus t to plus 2. So this t indicates half of the window. Therefore, the cross power is denoted by pxy of t, and it is a function of t. If t increases, power also increases, and if t decreases, power also decreases. It's a function of t. Now I am going to define the power, something called a cross power. So before that, let me recall something. We know the power formula. Power equal to voltage times current, or I can say voltage square by resistance, or I square times R. Now for simplicity, let us assume R equal to 1 ohm. So in that case, power is equal to VI or V square or I square. So this is a case for DC. If we have in terms of time varying signal, then let's say x of t is as a voltage signal, and x of t by R is a current signal. Therefore, power equal to x of t times voltage, x of t by R, current. So this is the power, that is x square of t by R. Let us say R equal to 1. Therefore, power is x square of t by R, and R you can assume t R equal to 1. So similarly, like this is with the x of t, it's with the x of t itself. And now once you integrate, let's say minus t to plus t and dt, this power is multiplied by time. So therefore this quantity gives what? Not power, it is energy. So therefore divide by its duration 1 by 2t. Then it gives 1 by 2t integral of minus t to plus t, x square of t times dt. So this is the power of the signal. See, here also I have voltage square, and here also I have x square of t. So take a signal, analog signal or any signal, and multiply by itself and assume R equal to 1. So that is the, and integrate from minus t to plus t and divide by its duration. So that is going to be power of the signal. Now we are defining something new, that is called cross power. So you take one signal xt, one signal is xt of t and another signal is yt of t. So let's say this is a voltage signal and this also you can say voltage signal, no problem, or current signal, nothing wrong. Multiply these two signals and divided by r, let's say r equal to 1 ohm. That gives the instantaneous power. If you want average power, multiply, integrate from minus t to plus t with respect to t, and if you do that, then you will end up with the energy. But we don't want energy, we want power. So the duration is minus t to plus t, so the total interval is 2t. So divide this quantity by 1 over 2t. So this indicates average power, Pxy of t. It's a function of time, function of capital T. Excuse me. Okay, and xt of t and yt of t both are Fourier transformable because we are assuming truncated version of the sample function x of t. Now, by using Parseval's theorem, there is a relation between time domain and frequency domain. So we always take the help of Parseval's theorem to go from time domain to frequency domain. So the energy in the time domain is equal to energy in the frequency domain. So let's say I have two signals, x1 of t, its Fourier transform is x1 of omega. I take another signal x2 of t and its Fourier transform is x2 of omega. Now the energy in time domain, x1 of t, x2 of t and dt, and the limit is minus infinity to plus infinity. So this is what energy of the signal, and if it is a complex signal, then you put a complex conjugate here, and this should be equal to energy in the frequency domain 1 over 2 pi times integral of its corresponding Fourier transform x1 of omega, x2 of omega times d omega, and put a complex conjugate here, and the limit is minus infinity to plus infinity. And this theorem is called Parseval's theorem. So the left hand side it is energy in time, the right hand side energy in frequency domain, frequency. So both are equal. That's what Parseval's theorem says. So instead of x1 and x2, what we have is xt of t and yt of t times dt, and the limit is minus infinity to plus infinity is equal to 1 over 2 pi integral of, just I am replacing x1 of t by xt of t and x2 of t by yt of t, that's all. So this is xt of omega and this one is yt of omega and d omega. You put a complex conjugate here. Okay, here xt of omega is the Fourier transform of xt of t, and yt of omega is the Fourier transform of, let's say, yt of t. Okay, now we assume that these two signals exist from minus t to plus t, so I can change the integration limit. Even if I put minus infinity to plus infinity, nothing is wrong, but let me put minus t to plus t xt of t, because if you put minus infinity to plus infinity, but anyway the signal is going to exist from minus t to plus t, so straight away you can put minus t to plus t yt of t times dt, which is equal to 1 over 2 pi xt of omega yt of omega d omega. You put a complex conjugate minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, so this is the energy cross energy, okay, between x of t and y of t in time domain. And this one is energy in the frequency domain. Now very important point you should note. Somebody may get a doubt. See, in the left hand side the integral is from, you are finding the energy, and in that process you are integrating from minus t to plus t. In the right hand side you are doing the same thing but minus infinity to plus infinity. Then you can ask a question, how can that be equal, right? So that is an important point one should note down, or one should ask yourself. Okay, when you take Fourier transformation x of xt of t and times yt of t, then xt of omega and yt of omega will contain frequencies from minus infinity to plus infinity. Even your signal is like, you know, minus t to plus t. The moment you take Fourier transform in the frequency domain, the frequency can exist from minus infinity to plus infinity. The best example is you take a rectangular pulse. See, the pulse is finite pulse, minus t by 2 to plus t by 2. Let's say this is my x of t. The moment you take Fourier transform of this, see, in the time domain it is a finite signal, finite duration signal. Finite duration in time. But if you take Fourier transform of this, you will get a sync pulse. And the sync pulse goes up to minus infinity to plus infinity. So how do you find the power here, power or energy? You have to integrate from minus infinity to plus infinity. But no need to do the same thing here from minus infinity to plus infinity, because the signal is finite duration signal, right? So therefore don't get confusion. Like, even though in the left hand side you have, you know, finite integration, and here you know, indefinite integration, nothing to worry. Now we need, our ultimate goal is we need to find out the cross power. So you divide by its duration 1 over t minus t2 plus t xt of t times yt of t and dt, which is equal to 1 over 2 pi 1 over 2t minus infinity to plus infinity xt conjugate of omega yt of omega times d omega. So this is defined as the average power, but it is a function of time t. Now if you notice that this cross power is a function of, you know, duration capital T, and also it depends on which sample function that you are going to choose, because in random process x of t, how many waveforms you have? Infinite number of waveforms. If you choose this waveform, you will get one power pxy. Let's say in y of t I have no collections like this. Let's say I took second waveform here and first waveform here. So the cross power between this and that, you will get one value, and the cross power between this guy, let me choose a different color. Cross power between this and that, you will get another value, and cross power between the first and the third one, you will get another cross power. So it is a, you know, random quantity, since its value will vary depending on which ensemble member is considered. Either you consider this ensemble member, or this ensemble member, or this ensemble member. Which ensemble member that you are going to consider. Therefore let's find out average power. So average power means what? You take the expectation. So expected value of pxy of t. This let me denote by pxy bar of t. Okay, therefore pxy bar of t is equal to expected value of the left hand side 1 over 2t integral of xt of t times yt of t and dt. Right hand side expected value of 1 over 2 pi integral of xt conjugate of omega yt of omega divided by 2 pi d omega. Now since expectation is a linear operator, you can take it inside. And moreover, finally we form the total average cross power. We don't want to find the cross power between minus t2 plus t, right? We don't want this. We don't want the cross power from minus t2 plus t. Then what else we want? We want the power from minus infinity to plus infinity. Then how do you get it? Take t goes, allow t to go to infinity. Okay, therefore pxy bar of t is equal to limit allow t to go to infinity 1 over 2t integral of, sorry, expectation is there, no? So expectation I forgot here. I'm sorry. You take expectation here. Expected value of 1 over 2t integral of xt of t times yt of t times dt, and the limit is minus t2 plus t. The right hand side also, limit t goes to infinity, expected value of 1 over 2 pi integral of minus infinity to plus infinity xt conjugate of omega yt of omega over 2t d omega. Now the expectation is a linear operator, you can bring it here. So limit t goes to infinity 1 over 2t minus t2 plus t, expected value of, now I'll leave it as an empty, dt. And the right hand side, limit t goes to infinity, I take expectation inside, minus infinity plus infinity, expected value of xt conjugate of omega yt of omega whole divided by 2 pi times d omega. Now can I put xt of t times yt of t? What will happen? As I already told you, the expectation operator is always applicable to a random variable, but here I am giving only a sample function, so it is meaningless. So therefore expected value of two sample functions xt of t times yt of t, it is a meaningless, there is no meaning for this. Therefore I should supply only random variables. So instead of that, what I do, I will put a random variable x of t. That means the random process x of t is sampled at time instant t. Okay, and this one is y of t, or you can put y of t plus tau also, not an issue. Okay, whichever way you like it, you can put it. Because anyway, either at the end we are going to assume wide descent stationary process, in that it is independent of where you are sampling. So that's it has no meaning. Therefore in this one, limit t goes to infinity 1 over 2t minus t2 plus t, expected value of x of t times, you can put y of t plus tau, not an issue, and dt, this is equal to 1, you can take this 2 pi and take this limit inside, limit t goes to infinity, expected value of xt conjugate of omega yt of omega whole divided by 2t integrate with respect to d omega. Now don't you see, this is the cross correlation between the two random variables x of t and y of t plus tau. I carefully pronounced that this is the random variable, not random process. Please mind you, these two are random variables. So here x of t indicates you are sampling the random process at time instant t, and here you are sampling the random process at time instant, sampling the random process y of t at time instant t plus tau. So this is limit t goes to infinity 1 over 2t or xx of t comma t plus tau dt. The right hand side, this is not, it's okay, no problem, because it is a power, put a equal symbol, no issues. Pxy of t and bar, it's a constant anyway. If you take an expectation, it becomes constant. Let's see. So 1 over 2 pi integral of limit t goes to infinity expected value of xt conjugate of omega, then yt of omega d omega whole divided by 2t. Now in the left hand side you have power, right? This is the power quantity. Now you are integrating some quantity with respect to frequency. So this is obviously, you can think as power spectral density or cross power spectral density. Cross power density spectrum. And this is denoted by S, first x and then y of omega. Therefore Sxy of omega is equal to limit, the same kind of expression we got for the random process x of t itself, autocorrelation function and the power spectral density of x of t. Okay, so 1 over 2t expected value of xt conjugate of omega times yt of omega, that's it. In the left hand side, what do you have? This one. What do you think this is going to be? Essentially what you are doing here is you take rxx of t comma t plus tau autocorrelation function. Is it rxy, rxx or rxy? I'm sorry, this is rxy. It is not rxx, rxy. So this is rxy of t comma t. Take this, integrate from minus t to plus t, and that means this is the duration, and what is the interval? 2t divided by 2t. So this is now taking time average of the autocorrelation function and taking limit t to go to infinity. That means you are taking the time average from minus infinity to plus infinity. So therefore the left hand side quantity this whole quantity is nothing but time average A of the cross correlation function rxy of t comma t plus tau. So on the left hand side you have time average of what you call rxy of t comma t plus tau, time average. Okay, so finally therefore your pxy, this is equal to, it is independent of t because you have taken t to go to infinity, so don't put t here, don't put t because you allowed t to go to infinity. Therefore pxy, let me write pxy bar is equal to integral of sxy of omega times d omega and the limit is minus infinity to plus infinity, and there is a scaling factor 1 by 2 pi. Now by repeating the procedure, above procedure exactly, we can define another cross power density spectrum, that is Syx of omega. Therefore the power Pyx bar is equal to 1 over 2 pi integral of Syx of omega times d omega, and the limit is minus infinity to plus infinity. And this is the cross power. Cross power of what? Cross power between y and x. Therefore the total power is equal to Pxy plus Pyx. Okay, so this can be interpreted as the additional power which can be generated by two processes, x of t and y of t. Two random process x of t and y of t. How much power is generated because of x of t to y of t and y of t to x of t. Okay, over and above their individual powers. What is their individual powers? Pxx and Pyy. These two are individual powers. This is the individual power of the random process x of t, and this guy is individual power of the random process y of t. And there is a cross power also. This cross power, Pxy plus Pyx. So add all those things, you will get total power. And why this additional power occurs? Because these two powers are not orthogonal. If it is orthogonal, then this cross power will be 0. Okay, so that's all about this topic. Maybe let me list out the properties of cross power density spectrum. I may not complete this. I cannot explain now. Here street dogs are not cooperating. Just let me point out the properties of cross power density spectrum. This property is similarly the same as power spectrum of the random process Sxx of omega. The first one is Sxy of omega is equal to Syx of minus omega. From the definition you can prove this, which is equal to Syx conjugate of omega. It's an odd function. And second property is real part of Sxy of omega and real part of Syx of omega are even, and imaginary part of this and imaginary part of this are odd. And then let's say this is the third property, and the fourth property is Sxy of omega is equal to 0 and Syx of omega is equal to 0. I mean x to y is 0 and y to x equal to 0 if x of t and y of t are orthogonal. Okay, fourth property. And the fifth property is if x of t and the random process y of t are uncorrelated, there is no correlation, and I have a constant means. The mean of x of t is denoted by x bar and the mean of y of t is denoted by y bar respectively. Then Sxy of omega, the cross power spectral density, is equal to Syx of omega, which is 2 pi times x bar y bar times del of omega. impulse function in the frequency domain del of omega is. So, so all these properties we can prove from the definition. Then the last property is time average of the cross correlation Rxy of t comma t plus tau is equal to, if you take Fourier transform of this, then you will get Sxy of omega, power spectral density. Similarly, Ryx of t comma t plus tau, take Fourier transform, these are Fourier transform pairs, then Syx of omega. Okay, so property 6 tells you that the cross power density spectrum and the time average of the cross correlation function are a Fourier transform pair. Okay, so maybe later on in one of the lecture let me try to prove this if time permits, or you can prove on your own. So that's it. So at this point let me stop. In the next lecture, if time permits, I'll prove the properties, or else let me jump onto relationship between cross power spectrum and a cross correlation function. That is there's a last property particularly Sxy of omega, that is cross power spectrum, and a cross correlation function Rxy of t comma t plus tau. These two are Fourier transform pairs, right? This we can prove actually. So it is a fairly straightforward proof, but it is a longish proof, so it takes a little more time. So we can prove that also. It's not that much difficult. So at this point let me stop. We will meet in the next lecture. Thank you.